Hello and welcome to another video here at Frontline Model Hobbies and another review time. Ooh. Now this one is for Magic Factory's 1/35th scale M7A3 the BFIST Bradley. Now the difference between this Bradley and the others is because it hasn't got the tow missiles on the side, it's got this seeker sensor package and all this, that and the other, and it's different armoured and a few of the bits and bobs. I'm not really genned up on these, but either way, let's have a look inside the box. Right, before I crack on and look inside the box, this box art looks absolutely stunning. So its intended purpose is to make you really want to build the kit, and that is the first tick in the box, so that's very nice. And trying to get inside the box is a nightmare. Yeah, here we go. And now, straight in the box, as you can see, it is full. Now we've got the upper hole, we've got another sprue there, we've got the clear parts, and then, as you can fully well imagine, this is going to go on and on and on. This is quite packed in here, as you can see, so you can count how many sprues are coming out of this one. Pretty much fully loaded. We've got the wheels and the tracks at the bottom there. Then we've got some metal stuff in there, so that's for the barrel. We've got the colour callouts ×2 by looks for it. We've got the P parts and the photo etched in there. We'll have a look at them in a minute. Hey! We've got some 1980s holographic. That'll be for the visors. That's nice. And we've got the destructions. So let's take a look at these. Right, so instructions time. Straight over the page, as you can see, you've got a bit of blurb about the vehicle and this, that and the other, and some health and safety down here, and the sprue callouts. So just make sure you've got everything before you crack on. Now over the page, as you can fully well imagine, with an armour kit, you're putting the wheels, drive sprockets and everything onto the lower hull. So that looks quite straightforward. You've got some internal parts, but don't worry about them because you haven't got a full interior on this one. Then you put in your hull and ramp assembly together and all the armour plating to go around this vehicle. As you can see, it's quite comprehensive, as you can see, and you've got exhaust grills and everything else like that. All the way down, you've got your driver's hatch and this, that and the other putting down. Don't forget that holographic stuff to go on the clear parts as well. So you've got your passenger compartment hatch as well to put on there. Then the rear armour assembly going through. Also, one thing to note is that you've got link and length tracks. So if you don't like doing tracks like me, then you'd love this one. Then you're putting your front and rear fenders in there. You're putting your ammo boxes, storage boxes in there for the left and right. Now you start putting the brat armour on there, which I can only imagine is the reactive armour. As you're going down there, so I believe this is explosive reactive armour, and you're putting it on the hull. Now you've got options for the side parts, whether to have it on or not, as you can see there. So you got your choice of that. Then you're putting your gun assembly, so it's the upper turret, or the turret shall I say. So you're putting the bow gun in there and everything else in there, and all the visors and everything, as you can see, going through there. And more, just loads of armour going on this one. More brat armour. So far I've not seen any call outs, but it's predictable. Well, I've not seen any colour call-outs, but to be honest with you, they should be quite self-explanatory. It should be all one colour. But again, you're putting all these parts on there. To be honest with you, you know, it does look quite comprehensive, and you've got all your sensor pods and all this and the other, fire support sensor assembly and everything else on there. And then you finish off with putting this enhanced whip antenna system on there, and that's the vehicle done. So you've got two flavours of the colour scheme. So you've got this one desertised one, which is from the, and you can read there, the 1st Battalion 5th Field Artillery Regiment, blah, 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 blah. So that is very nice. But the other nice one, and this is an unknown unit, and you've got the twin tone colour scheme on that one. And also the colour schemes are in Mr. Colour, Tamiya and AK. So that is nice to have that reference. At least you've got some colour callouts on this one. It's nice to have some die-cut masks in the box, as you can see, for all the visors. So you've got a little template there showing you where everything is. So that is a nice inclusion. And also this holographic sheet, I think, is actually quite see-through. So it's a lot easier to use this than having to paint it. So that is also nice to have. In terms of decals then, these are a bit more pronounced than what I've seen recently. but they are all within register. You can read the writing. I've not seen any spelling mistakes, to be honest with you, but they don't look too bad, to be honest with you, with the exception of maybe those orange bars there. There's a bit of scratching on there. I don't know if it's just because this is a review sample, it's been kicked about, but either way, they should work as intended. Not a problem with them. Right, photo etched. I would not say that this is trumpeter sort of thickness of photo etched, but either way, you've got this one huge fret. And on this one, if you're not putting the reactive armour on, you've got to put all these on the side plates on the side of the vehicle. Me personally, I'll be putting the reactive armour on, but either way. So you've got all that on that one. And then on the other one, I believe this is a mask for the wheels as well. And then you've got all the vents and everything else on there. So that is another nice piece of fret of photo etch. Same thickness as well. Now, before we crack on with the sprues, you've got this beautiful Bushmaster cannon in metal. And if I can get this other part and show you, you can see the flash suppressors in there, all nicely machined out. It's all hollow on this end piece. This end is not, and you've got the grooves all the way down. So this is a nice inclusion in the kit. Now, first up, we've got the lower hull, so times 2 halves. So we'll take a look at one of them. Now, this one, as you can see on the close-up, you've got some very nice fine details running all the way across this, and also some anti-slip coating on there. Don't forget to remove that bar. But with all the holes, as you can see, this is just pretty much a blank canvas. So obviously you've got everything else to put on there. And on the opposite side, proper old school. So you've got a bit of writing and the Sprue letter on there. So that's that part. And then the other one, you've got some rivets all the way cast on there, and all the bars and everything, and some fine details on there whatsoever. So again, you've got some writing in there and the Sprue letter. But when I came to putting both the halves together, it is a bit tricky because it's kind of pushed in and warped on the sides, as you can see, running along there. So just be careful when you're putting the sides together, but it doesn't look too overcomplicated. We are modelers, so it should fit. Now, finally, onto the actual sprues. Now, we've got Sprue A. This is where it kind of ends. It doesn't go A, B, C, D. You will find out anyway. But either way, so looking closely, you've got all the flat parts with the exception of a couple of pieces. But you've got this anti-slip coating again, which looks a very fine indeed. It's not on absolutely everything, but you can see all these holes, which pretty much will be everywhere, and that's other stuff to glue onto. And on the reverse, you've got some ejector pin marks, which you're never going to see anyway. So yeah, very nicely done. These smaller bits have got no ejector pin marks on, no flash, no problem with them whatsoever. Next up, we've got Sprue D, which is ×2, so we'll take a look at one of them. And on this one, we've got some suspension parts, as you can see, and a few other bits and bobs and whatsoever, and you've got some tracks as well. But again, it looks like some tow rope on there as well. Looking closely, that is very nicely done. Again, no flash on this whatsoever, not a problem. And again, no areas with the exception of these tracks where there's any injector pin marks. But yeah, very nice sprue. Now, looking closely, you've got your length track, you've got all your wheels, you've got your drive sprockets, and you've got all your suspension components in the individual track. Now, the one downside to this sprue is that if you look on the opposite side, on the track parts themselves, you can see some ejector pin marks, and the same on all the individual tracks. So every single one has got them on, so you might have to just sand them out. They're not too overly deep, but you might be able to get away with them, you might not see them. Now, the other thing is, and this is the good thing, is that these are no seam lines around all the wheels, but you'd have to clean up those 4 points all the way around there. But the tracks themselves are very nicely done, and also you've got that sort of wave pattern, as you can see on the track itself, so you don't need to put that in, that's already there. And all the details themselves look exquisite, very nicely done, not a problem with that whatsoever. Next up is Sprue I, and as you can see, you've got your turret and pretty much everything else on there. You've got all your hatches and everything else on there, so spinning around, pretty much everything looks very nice. That anti-slip moulding seems to have got a bit more prominent, so I think in certain areas has got it more than others, but you can see these details look very nicely done, not a problem with that. Now, you've got these drilled holes out on there, with the exception of that end one, which I picked out, which I don't know why that's not totally drilled out. But either way, one thing to note is that, don't forget, that this turret is pretty much a blank canvas. There's going to be a lot glued onto this. Looking on the opposite side, obviously you're going to have ejector pin marks where you're not going to be seen. Some in hatches and this, that and the other, but either way, very nicely done. So moving on to Sprue J, and we've got a myriad of stuff on here, as you can see. So again, it's just lumps and bumps and this, that and the other that's going to be going on to the turret and to the lower hull. So pretty much all those details look very nice indeed. The sprue gates are very small actually, and if there's only need to be one, there's only one. So yeah, very nicely done. So very quickly, these three sprues were in one bag. So this one is Sprue E, and you've got these rubber parts, as you can see there. Now these are for the side skirts, for the top turret and the ammo feed. So that is very nice and thin as well. So next one is Sprue K, and as you can see, you've got the machine gun and the cannon and a few other bits and bobs on there. So you've got some anti-slip coating on there, you've got the front part for the turret, and you've got the Bushmaster cannon, which pretty much is just as good as the metal one, as well as the machine gun as well. That looks very nicely done with drilled out barrels as well, so not too bad on them. And lastly, for these three little sprues, is this brat armour, which is going to be put onto the turret. You've got some nice rivets on there and some nice anti-slip coating running all the way down on these. Are very nicely done. So yeah, that's a nice sprue. Now this moves us neatly on to Sprue M with the rest of this brat armour on there and loads of other bits and bobs. So moving around, as you can see, again, you've got that really nice rivet detail. Very finely done. Nicely done on that. Now where there isn't needed to be any slip coating or anti-slip coating, shall I say, it's not there. Where there is, there is. So as you can see, it's on the top of there where it would normally be. The same on the front where it would be on the hull, as you can see there. So very nicely done, this sprue, and this is what I'll be putting on mine. And as you can see, those vents on the side, very nicely done again. And that is, I believe, the driver's hatch, or one of the hatches anyway. And you've got even more anti-slip coating, quite a lot to be honest with you. But either way, on the opposite side, obviously, you're never going to see any of this, to be honest with you. So there's no need to show it. But either way, nice sprue. Now, if you didn't want to put all that brat armour on there, now you've got the other option, which is now on Sprue N. And you've got these side plates, which you're going to be putting all that photo etched onto there. So I'm assuming where all those dots are is where photo etch is going to be. So that's the reason why I'm putting the other one on, because I am scarpering to something a lot easier. But either way, again, these details on this sprue are very nice indeed. As you can see, very consistent. There's next to no flash. I can't really see any flash. Maybe slightly, ever so slightly on a couple of parts. But either way, very nicely done. Again, can't see a problem with that whatsoever. Now on to Sprue O, and this one has got, again, a myriad of everything on there. So you've got your tow cable and everything else on there, and some tools. Now the tow cable is exceptionally good. That is probably the finest tow cable I've seen in plastic. Again, the tools are very nicely done. Not a problem with them whatsoever. Again, I can't see any flash, but the sprue gates again are very, very, very finely done. And you've got that anti-slip sort of moulding on there. So again, and very another nice sprue. I must admit, you're going to hate me for saying it, but more anti-slip coating, I know. And certain areas where there isn't. But again, all these flat panels are lovely done. Now you've got this hatch, which is the rear hatch. And again, these where the visors are going to stick through. But either way, are very nicely done. And you can see the anti-slip coating on there. So when you've painted it and given this a wash, it's going to take really, really well. So again, I don't think you're going to see any of the ejector pin marks. And again, all the sprue gates and everything is all out the way. There's no flash on it. It's mainly on the sprue. Right, we're starting to get there now. So we've got Sprue S, and as you can see, you've got your whip antennas, which look very nice, and you've got all these other panels and this, that, and the other that are going to go on there. So the whip antennas, the fine details on them are exquisite. Very nicely done. Not a problem with them whatsoever. So I would really put them on right at the end, but everything else looks spot on. Okay, so last sprue, yes, the last one is Sprue F. And as you can see, all the clear parts look exquisite. Not a problem with them whatsoever. All the flat ones look flat. There's no problems with them. There's no marks in them. Yeah, so the visors, it's a vehicle, so they're going to be battered anyway, so they should be all right. And there we have it. Magic Factory. Where did that come from? I have never seen a Magic Factory armour kit before. Now, I don't do modern armour either. Now, this one is definitely floating my boat. This is awesome. You get a ton of detail inside the box. You get a ton of plastic inside the box. You get everything you need in there, like a metal gun barrel and this, that and the other, and all the fine little details that you should get in some other kits, but you don't. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. Now, some people may say, well, I can get a similar price kit with a full interior. I don't care, because full interior kits for armour, I don't get anyway, because you don't really see it. But for this price at $49.99, it's worth every penny. I highly recommend this kit, and I'm hoping it goes together just as well as it looks, because if it does, and these are out very soon in the next month or so, I'm off to go and buy one. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one. Cheerio.